Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, founder of the Massimo Group, the world's #1 commercial real estate coaching organization for commercial real estate brokers just like you. And today, I got something special. We're going to show you an exercise. In fact, we're going to give you a worksheet. Make sure you download it right away. And we're going to review a worksheet and how you can figure out what you need to work on to grow your real estate business. And eventually, when you go through this worksheet and the 8 key steps to grow your business, well, we got to determine what are the next steps? The 3 hows, we call them. Not the who's, but the hows. But we'll talk more about that as we go through the video. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut to a video to describe exactly this worksheet, everything you need to know, how to complete it. Again, make sure you download it right now, and then go through the video, complete it as you are, and I'll see you on the other side, and we'll review it together. Okay? Here we go. How will you grow? That's right. Where are you growing from here? Here's an exercise we're going to use throughout this presentation. And I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to make this really simple. Now, I'm also going to share with you that this format was shared with me by Mr. Dan Sullivan years ago when I used to work with him and Strategic Coach. We've modified the format. We've modified the vectors to apply specifically to you and to the commercial real estate space. So what you can do right now is I'd like you to take out a pen or pencil and a piece of paper and think about writing 3 columns. We'll talk about those as we're going to dive into this deeper. So on those 3 columns, on the first one, just write scorecard. Don't worry about writing in the identifiers for each of these 8 variables. We'll get to those. Then the middle column, write the word now. We're going to find out where are you now? Where are you now? And finally, where do you want to grow to? Where do you want to grow to? So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is your prospecting, right? Prospecting is a disciplined act of asking for business. What I'd like you to do is just rate yourself 1 to 12, with 1 being completely sporadic, inconsistent prospecting. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't, right? And 12 being complete, comprehensive, targeted, structured campaigns that are automated. There's a process, right? 1 to 12. I want you just to identify where you are right now. Now look, it's very unlikely you're going to be at a 12. Likewise, it's very unlikely you're going to be at a 1. But somewhere in between, where do you believe you are now? Just think about that. So on that scorecard that you identified, in that first column, I want you to write sporadic prospecting versus targeted campaigns. And now I'd like you to fill in where you believe you are now. This is your rating, your personal score. No one else is going to see this but you. No one's going to see this but you. But let's know where you are. So for example, I just put there hypothetically, maybe you're a 3, right? You might be a 7, a 2, a 10. I don't know. But maybe for some of you, you're a 3. You feel there now. Now, a year from now, here's the question. A year from now, where would you like to be? Where would you like to be a year from now? What's next? Think about that. A year from now, where would you like to be? So hypothetically, let's say you wrote down a 10. Now, I'm going to tell you a 3 to a 10 is a significant jump, right? That's a change, a difference of 7 to 7. So that's a big jump. I'm also going to share with you, you can't say you want to be a 12 because it's not the only thing you're going to work on in the next year. In fact, over the next year, you're going to work on several things to grow your business. So to say I'm going to get to a 12, a 12, a 12, you just want to have the capacity, the resources to get there for each and every one. So be realistic of where you want to grow. Now, the second thing we want to look at is your market presence. How present are you in the marketplace, right? Are you invisible? No one's ever heard of you. No one knows you, right? You're really climbing an uphill battle during your prospect calls. You get a lot of comments like, sorry, never heard of you. Who are you? That's problematic, right? Or is it limited? Maybe just your clients know who you are, but really don't have a large sphere of influence. So that'd be a lower rating. As opposed to a higher rating, you're seen in your marketplace as a valued resource, right? You're different. People know you. So what I mean by that is if I was to go into your marketplace and ask someone, look, can you name me a few of folks who specialize in, hypothetically, sales, leasing, management, finance, whatever it might be, appraisal, whatever it might be. Would your name come up? Is your presence one of being a valued resource, or are you invisible? Again, the key is I want you to rate where you are now and where you want to be a year from now. So let's go back to that scorecard. And number 2, I want you to write down invisible or limited versus valued resource. And again, you write down your ratings to where you are now and where you want to be a year from now. Okay, next, let's look at your presentations, your pitches. That's right. When you present or when you pitch your business, what position are you putting yourself in? Now, why do I ask you that? This is why. Because we've been around now for almost 12 years and worked with thousands of commercial real estate clients, we have seen all the pitch books from every major company, many regional companies, and yes, many, many independent firms. And I will tell you, the pitch, the approach, they're all the same. They're all commodities. They don't differentiate. So what I ask you is to look at your pitch book, look at your presentation, look at your, whatever it might be, when you're asking for business and presenting why you're different, does those materials and or your articulation of your value proposition, is it a commodity or is it client focused? Is it a commodity or is it client focused? So once again, let's go back to the scorecard and just rate where you think you are today. Your presentation, your pitch book. Is it a commodity? I mean, not much different than your competition? Or is it truly client focused? It's all about them. Again, where you are now, rate yourself. Where would you like to be a year from now? And don't forget, you cannot continue to give yourself 12s or significant jumps because it's a lot of work to do in a year. So be realistic. Okay, now let's look at your average day. Think back to that original matrix we looked at, those 4 quadrants of how you feel, what you have, what's your status, what's your average day look like. So think about your average day. Is it one where you do it all? You are the originator of business. You are the winner of the business. You service the business. You are the admin. You are the janitor, right? You do everything in your business. You do it all. Or on the other scale, of course, is you only focus on what you do best. You have an integrated team around you that does everything else. And you just focus on what you do best. So once again, let's go to the scorecard. And here in number 4, I want you to write down, do it all or focus on what you do best. And be honest, where are you now in your business? Where do you want to be a year from now? Put down those 2 scores. Again, this is just you. No one's going to see these, so don't worry. Just you by yourself rating where you are today, where you want to be a year from now. Let's now look at the day, right? What does that day look like as far as, is it full of chaos? Are you reactive, right? Are you losing opportunities? Or is there complete clarity, structure, right? You're proactive. Rate yourself 1 to 12. Where are you today, right now? Your practice, right? Your average day, chaotic, right? Is it clear, right? Where you want to grow a year from now, 1 through 12, put in your ratings there. Now let's talk about how you feel. How do you feel? Are you frustrated? Is there confusion, right? Or are you energized, right? Are you positive? Where are you on how you feel? This is a feeling, not just right now while you take this exercise, but think about normally, on average, looking at your day, where are you? Where are you? Yes, some weeks are very frustrating. I get that. Some days are very energized. But overall, I want you to rate yourself now. Where are you, right? On average, usually this is how I'm feeling, right? 1 through 12. And a year from now, where are you going to be? Where do you want to be a year from now? Now, we're almost done, but let's look at your status, right? What's your status in the marketplace? As I shared earlier, you don't really know for sure, right? Because the market defines your status. What do you think you are? Are you inconsistent from a production standpoint? Are you absent? Are you absent? Maybe from your family, your friends. Are you absent because you're just working all the time on that transaction treadmill, right? Versus, are you present? You're always there for everyone. And you're a top producer. You're consistent. Be honest. Where are you today? Where are you today? Rate yourself. And a year from now, where would you like to get to? Now, again, knowing all the things you can work on to really build that practice, where would you like to get to? And last, but certainly not least, is how you look at your personal development, right? Investing in yourself, some would say, spending time to grow. Yes, grow intellectually, grow professionally, and heck, grow emotionally. So do you look at that as an expense, right? An expense would be, I put out capital, put out money, and there's never going to be return. It's a waste, right? How do you look at things like this, whether it be buying books, buying courses, coaching, whatever it might be? How do you perceive it? What do you want to perceive it a year from now? A year from now, what should be your perspective as far as investing or expensing at this point in your most valuable asset, which, by the way, your most valuable asset is you. So for this last variable, variable number 8, write down the words in the first column on the left: expense, investment. Tell us where you are today. Be honest. Tell yourself, this is how I look at these things, right? From 1 to 12. And a year from now, where do you want your mindset to be? Where do you want your mindset to be? So what's going to happen is we're going to tally these scores, and these scores are going to share with us and reflect to us where your business is now and where you want it to grow a year from now. And the scale here is either you're transaction dependent, you're on the transaction treadmill, you can't get off, your head is buried down, you won't pick it up, you gotta do deals, gotta do deals, gotta do deals. In fact, you're a slave to your own business. You can't get off that treadmill. Versus having a sustainable business, right? Where yes, you do what you want to do, you do what you do best, you have clarity, you are proactive, you are present. Everything that goes in those realms of ranges, that's what you will aspire to become. So where are you? And I will share with you, top performers, top producers, consistent producers, they're not transaction dependent. Yes, they build sustainable businesses. So here's how we're going to do. I just threw in some example numbers, hypothetical, of some ratings you may or may not put there, right? So let's look at some example ratings. So the total on the now column, is 24. And the total on the next, where you want to go, where you want to grow, is 64. Now, divide by 8. Obviously, it'd be 3 in the now. And so if you notice, 3 on the now populates in that middle graph to a 3. So right now, you're saying you're mainly transaction dependent. And again, your ratings, your scores will be different, more than likely. In fact, it may be 4, 5, 6, 6.2, right? It won't necessarily be a whole number when you divide by 8, depending on your ratings. But this is just a reflection of where you want to grow. As far as next, back now, let's say the average is now 8. I want to get to an 8. So back on the middle graph, put 8. Want to get to an 8. Now you'll just have your scorecard. You won't have these graphs, but I'm showing you for those that like to look at the picture side where you want to grow to. So in this example, when you assess where you are and where you want to grow to, these 8 steps, you've identified, look, I'm currently more transaction dependent. Ultimately, I have to build a sustainable business, right? And I need to get from a 3 to an 8 in my business model. 1 year from now for that to happen? Of course, the key to this is the hows. How are you going to do this? What are, let's keep this simple, 3 key things you must do to make this transformation? Now, I want you to think about those 3 things. Think about your ratings. Look back on your scorecard. Identify areas you need help. Potentially, you need a whole new approach to prospecting, right? Right now, your prospecting is more inconsistent or sporadic, but you need more of a campaign. Think about maybe your personal marketing. Maybe it's one of you just don't have a significant reputation or presence in the marketplace, right? Or you have a reputation and it's not positive. What do you need to do to be looked at more as a valued resource, right, than simply being invisible? Maybe it's something as looking at how you're pitching business. Perhaps right now you're just a commodity. You're another broker with the same message of the last 3 that came into my office or your client's or prospect's office, right? Versus, wow, you really get me. It's client focused. It's all about my issues, and it's structured in such a way that differentiates you from your competition. These are just 3 of many examples of some hows, how you would do things to move forward. It's your turn now to identify the 3 areas based on this scorecard that will help propel your business to the year from now that you want to get to.
Okay, that's it. So here's the question. How did you rate yourself on those 8 elements? Rating, not score. There's no pass fail. There's ratings, right? So, and what's the gap where you currently are and what your ideal state is? A year from now, 3 years from now, where do you want to be? Where do you want to grow, right? How are we going to get there? Those 8 steps. So now you understand the gap and those 8 elements. What we want you to do is focus on 3 of those elements. Maybe it's your prospecting, maybe it's your team, maybe it's your marketing, maybe it's how you spend your day, maybe it's getting out of the chaos, going to clarity. What are the 3 things you need to do right now to start making a difference and truly start growing? Look, as I shared in the video, you can't do all 8. You don't expect to, right? At least not in a certain time period. So take a time period. Let's call it a year from now. Make it simple. A year from now, where do you want to grow to? Look at that center box, right? You have 2 ratings, where you are and where you want to grow. What's that gap? How are we going to get there? Let's define 3 specific things. Now, when I mean specific, let's not go too micro, right? I got to make 10 calls a day, 100 calls a week, 200 calls a week. That's really micro. I like that. But more important than that, one of the hows would be, I really got to build this targeted prospecting campaign. And then we could narrow that down to micro steps, okay? Another how might be, I've got to figure out how to build a more robust personal marketing presence. I can figure out how to build a scalable team that can delegate out everything I should not be doing. I can figure out how to create the processes to do things more easily and repetitive, right? I can figure out how to create more impactful, resonating presentations so I can win more exclusives. There's a lot of hows that we can do here. Just pick 3. And then let's focus on the first one and move forward from that. So those are the 3 hows, okay? Look, we're always here to help. In fact, there's a link below that you can see about all our coaching programs. And at Massimo, we'll give you everything you need to know right now without even talking to us about what our programs do, what they're encompassing, what they consist of, even the investment. The tags are down below. So check them out. And if you want to start multiplying your commission income, let's get together and let's move forward. Talk to you soon.